Hello, homeschool mom, and welcome to the Homeschool Well Podcast, this new episode for January of 2026. Jenny's here with us too.
Yep. Hello.
And this whole month, we are giving you a gentle reset. We want to inspire you with healing, hopeful, and helpful tips and messages, especially for moms who might be in a spot where they chose homeschooling after their child has left public or private school or, any different educational setting. Maybe they and you were misunderstood, mistreated, or left behind. Well, we have been there and we just want to help you stay in the life words, right?
Yeah.
Keep your mindset filled with positivity because that's a hard place to start from, right?
Yes.
Yes. So last week's episode was about how you're not failing. So go back and listen to that if you haven't. We tell a lot about our stories and with our kiddos in there. And today's is specifically about if you're trying to heal from wounds where your child has been, misunderstood, has had this confident crash down. Maybe you too, you're both like lacking in confidence about why you're doing what you're doing right now with their schooling. We want to start speaking to some wounds that you might have.
Yeah.
Maybe your kids were in a public or a private school setting where the staff and maybe their teachers didn't listen to them. Or maybe they had great teachers, right? And they were in this amazing educational setting, but your child was just not thriving and they could not even recognize their own feelings. And you're watching your child like trying to figure out, why am I here? Is this, this isn't the best place for me, but yet they can't like talk to you about it. Do you know what I mean? Like you're literally just watching your kiddo struggle.
Yeah.
That creates wounds in your kid and you just having to like be in that waiting room. It's like a waiting space, right? God, sometimes, a lot of times we say prayers and we ask, please, and we wait a long time. So it's hard to go through being in either one of those spots and having these like wounds from those experiences.
Yeah, for sure. We have two totally different stories. And if you didn't hear our stories, you can go back, like Kim said last week, and listen to it. We both have actually completely different stories. I pulled my son out in second grade, and then recently her son came home again. But yeah, your child's either misunderstood or it's just not a good fit. I mean, basically, it's just not a good fit for whatever reason it is. Either your child has learning differences and they're just not fitting in the box, or your child is not thriving emotionally. There's so many reasons why people pull their kids out, and it's such a big deal. And we don't want to say at all that it's teachers' faults or anything. You know what I mean? Like school is school.
Right. But you go through these things and then you start over with this fresh new experience. And we don't want you to recreate those experiences that you had, right? We want the wounds. You want to be able to heal that so you don't repeat it.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, yeah. So my example perfectly, like, my child went to a preschool. This is my oldest son, and if you've listened to us for a while, you know this situation. He's 20 now. But we had a cute little preschool. The teachers were amazing. He got in a lot of trouble for different things. He just couldn't stay still, and he couldn't keep his hands to himself, and that kind of thing. But it's preschool, so things happen. Then we go to kindergarten, same thing. Then we went to second grade. And every time, I never once had a good parent conference, ever. Any of those times. 2 years in preschool and then kindergarten first and second. And every time. That's 5.
I'm so sorry.
Right. And I was a teacher. So like I was like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with my child? I always felt like something was wrong with him. But every time I would go into a parent conference, I would just cringe because I'm like, what are they gonna say about my baby?
Oh, yeah.
And I know he's difficult, but I love my kid, and he had so many amazing qualities.
He does. He has so many leadership and charm qualities.
Yeah, charm. And people love him. Yeah.
He's just out of the box. And when you're in a system where they have to prioritize compliance. So for so many reasons. And as they get older,
sure.
That's why it took until second grade, because as they get older, they have so much accountability for testing and he was in the general ed stream of things.
Right.
So you out there, homeschool mom, you don't have to live that way. Like how many years was that? 5 years, Jenny, that you had to like
5.
cringe
Yes.
and feel, I can feel like this knot in your chest when you're walking
I
up
was
to the
always
school.
embarrassed. I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be horrible.
And they
so
couldn't like work with you. It was hard to work together.
No, because a school is a school and they have certain requirements. Like you just said, like there's a certain amount of compliance that a kid, it's a box. And every school has a different box. Some schools, the box is bigger. Some it's smaller. But every school has its own box. It can only do so much for your individual child. And so it finally was like, gosh, my kid can't do anything right here. So that's where it was just like had I left him there for 3rd grade, that's the year in Florida where it's like, if you don't pass all these tests, they do so much test prep because you get retained if you don't pass, right? And he was a great reader, so I knew he would be fine. I didn't know if he could pay attention long enough to pass the test, but he read all the time.
Yeah, he was a gifted student.
Amazing. Yeah. So I was like,
smart.
oh no, this is not going to work out in 3rd grade. He's going to be in so much trouble. He's going to hate it here. So that's when we pulled him. But even when we went to the hybrid school after that, the homeschool hybrid school, it was a great school. But again, it was a different box that we put him in, and he still had a hard time operating within that box too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's why we ended up just straight homeschooling him eventually. The teachers just didn't know how to help him. And even when
I would say, right, you're just going to say, either did you. You were like,
no, I didn't know what to do either.
I don't know what to tell you.
I was finally like, gosh, if I have to stay here all the time, I might as well do this myself. Like if I'm constantly having to come here to volunteer to watch him, or to like deal with his discipline at home, or all the work he wasn't finishing, which I'm like, we're not doing this at home. He's been in school all day. What have you done with him? Right. Like we can't, I might as well just do this myself.
Yeah.
So that was when I eventually just pulled him out.
Right.
But again, like I'm a teacher. I love teachers. So it wasn't their fault. It just happened to be that environment.
Yeah. It just was not a good match. And
it wasn't a good match.
So I loved your point. So you had to like there was a lot of action. There was a lot of like communication and honesty. Leave. Like that's how you guys left public school. And on my end with my boy, it was painful in a quiet way because there was a lot of waiting, and I had to respect my boy's like flow. He did not appreciate that I think I rushed him a little bit, but it took him like 2 years to really flow through to a decision,
Such a long time.
Yeah. And I mean, I could just wallow in this fear mindset of, oh my goodness, we're messing everything up. We did it wrong.
Yes.
This is a big mess. You know what? It's a beautiful mess sometimes.
It is a beautiful mess. And I thought that too, because you always have the guilt, right? We talked about this last week too. You always second guess yourself and have this doubt, and you have to get the enemy out of your head.
Well, I think too, and be able to communicate to our kids that sometimes it doesn't feel like this was the right choice, but God's going to make something good out of this. We're going to not wallow in fear that this was a mistake or something stupid that we did. We're not going to run back to the bus or run back. We're going to work it out and figure it out. And it is ugly sometimes, but there is hope in that God does have perfect timing. His plans are good. He gave your child strengths and weaknesses, and he gave you this time with your child, even if you're not really close, like when you're younger ages, you're doing all these things together. Okay, I'm in a totally different frame of parenting now. It's like I have to just push him to be independent, but I can't really push him because then I'm nagging, and there's so many, so hard. It's so much harder.
Totally.
Gosh, but I have to believe in the hope that God, I know he gave all of our kids strengths, and he gave them a purpose. And we don't understand sometimes the process, but we are the vehicle. We're helping our kids discover their purpose.
Yeah, and their purpose and their strengths. Yeah.
And to use their God-given strengths, abilities, and giftings to work out their purpose in a job, because that's how we live here on earth, right? A job, but their actual work is something that God is going to give them to do to help other people,
Right.
and so I have the blessing of having two kids, and one of them who always knew her purpose and how she wanted to use her giftings and talents. And now I'm able to have this like totally opposite experience where my boy is still figuring it out, and struggling with it. But I'm glad she came first. So I know,
Yeah.
like gives me more hope. So I just want to say that to you, homeschool mom, right? If it's your
Yeah.
oldest son, like Jenny's, who is struggling to find his strengths, how to use them, his purpose in life, if they're young and it's just throughout what their education setting is, like have hope, because God did make them fearfully and wonderfully made. Now we're leading to that scripture that we're talking about, right?
Yes, and that scripture we want to share with you today is Psalm 139:14. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. And I think for me, when my son was little, I really had to think about what his strengths were. I had all these people telling me what his weaknesses were all the time. And so it forced me to find the strengths in him so that we could work on those and build on those. And I thought, you know what? God totally has put these in this kid. He told me one time, like, when he fishes by himself, that's the time when he sees God the most. Like, he just is an outdoor kid. Like, he loves nature and all that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, God put that in him to relate to himself,
Yeah,
right?
to connect with him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had someone tell me one time, they said, you're really good, Jenny, at looking at kids and finding their strengths.
Yeah, you are.
And I said, well, I think that's because I had to really do it a
Well,
lot.
and also not let a child's struggles and weaknesses overtake your identity of them. Like you know what I mean? Like you're still putting their strengths forward in your mind. And that's
forward thinking, like future. Like, yes, my kid is annoying to you because he constantly talks all the time and he wants attention all the time. However, as an adult, what is that going to look like? Like someone who's very confident, like he could be in sales or, all these things, all these powerful boys who argue with you or do what they want. Yes, you can't let them do that as kids, but like these are people who are going to be world changers, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, how do you harness these strengths and think ahead? Like, is this a good quality for an adult? Absolutely. A lot of times, all of them are. Right?
But as a kid, it can be
as a kid, it's
really
annoying.
hard. And especially if you're in a classround. But you guys, if you haven't heard this before, I taught Forrest in our church classes because we went to church together.
That's my son. Yeah.
Forrest, yeah. And I would just give him, like, I could always count on Forrest to have a little leadership role. And he played the drums, so I would put him up in front of the class, and he loved it. And he would, like, either take notes or he would be the drum roll kid when I needed a drum roll. He probably was making faces behind my back and making everybody laugh. But, they appreciated that if things got boring. I don't know. But I just
he was definitely going to liven it up for you.
I felt like he was always ready to take on a leadership role. And like, when you think about that in an employment setting, don't you always want somebody to do that for you? Like to have that, backup?
Yeah. And someone likable. He goes out to all these people's homes and does all this stuff for them. And when they are having something terrible happen to their home, like their house is flooding and everything. And so he shows up like Mr. Likable and, all right, yeah, we'll fix it. All right, let's go. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's interesting to think ahead. So when you're thinking about your child and thinking, oh my gosh, they have so many weaknesses, like ask God to help you find their strengths so that you can
focus on them.
Stay in the game.
And focus on them. Literally write them down, put them on sticky notes, make them, into drawings, tell them about it. We see all the time in our evaluations and our testing how homeschool parents are successfully educating neurodivergent kids with unique abilities. I mean, I'm talking about the total full spectrum. I just had an evaluation recently with a medically involved child, and those are the important things that they're dealing with, and they're doing that successfully. And then I did testing for this very, very gifted child who was amazing. I was just like, man. But and then everything in between, everyone's homeschool looks different. and
Correct.
just have to stay in the hope and let go of the wounds from the past, or
Mm-hmm.
think about them and decide that you're going to be healed. You're not going to let them
Yes,
take over. And I'll tell you,
that's
when
right.
I have this biggest battle is at 4 a.m. or
I was
5
just going to
a.m.
say 3 a.m.
Right?
Yes.
When I wake up, I'm not an early riser. So when I wake up at those times, I usually go back to sleep for a couple of hours or an hour, whatever. But it's like a fight
Mm-hmm.
I have to rely on Psalm 23 in my head and like literally intentionally pray, like away the
Mm-hmm.
negativity. And that,
Yeah.
right? It can happen
The
all day.
fear.
Yeah.
The
So,
absolute fear. Yeah. There's so many ways to homeschool. There's
so
so
many.
many different paths, and there isn't one just right one
Yeah.
that everyone should follow. It's whatever is right for your child and
Yeah.
right for your family.
All right. What's next? We have one more section here.
We want to give you 3 strategies at the end of this podcast that you can use to build confidence in yourself, in your child, in your homeschool. Strategies to give you confidence with your learner. The first one, which we just kind of talked about, is find your child's strength and teach to those.
First.
Yes,
First.
first. Yes, you're going to focus on those, especially if you're just getting started. Kim talked about this last week, actually. She said, if you're just starting homeschooling, like, don't start with the worst subject because you think your kid needs all this help. Like, if you just want to build a relationship with this kid, start with your child's strength and do something they're good at to build momentum, whether that be starting the semester, starting your day. Like, find a way that you can start things that way.
And because also it builds momentum in the morning when you're starting, and you're starting with something
Oh yeah,
that they can look forward to.
Or the semester.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So teach your child's strengths first. And the second one is redefine progress. What is success to you? It's okay if it's modified completely from what they did at a public or a private school. Track the growth of your student by looking at their confidence and their effort, not just like their academic grades. Redefine the progress, even if you have to modify things or limit things or
Mhm.
add things. Maybe they're doing extra things. You and your child need successes, and you are able and allowed to be creative. Make those successes known. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
Especially if they are, in my situation, my boy already was an established athlete. So as soon as he came home, that part of his life became part of his homeschool
Yeah.
for grade, for
Mm-hmm.
PE, for credit, and again, this is high school, but you can think about this as your kids are younger too, having them make that topic part of maybe some of their writing. Maybe they compose
Mm-hmm.
a little speech about that hobby. It's okay to be outside of the box and give them grades accordingly. Like that
Yeah.
whole traditional grade method, you can weave that in and modify it, especially when you're coming from this like wounded situation where you need to pull up some successes.
Yeah.
You need to see progress in little things that the school never paid attention to, but
Right.
life is learning, and it's very applicable in your situation, Mom. So
Mm-hmm.
redefine progress and count your successes wherever they come from. Life is
Yeah.
schooling.
That's good. And also the third one is you can use flexible pacing. So you decide how much you're going to do, what you're going to do, how you're going to spread out this timeline of school. It doesn't have to, you're not competing, and I'm shaking my head as I'm doing this. You're not competing with your friends who are in public school. Your timeline might look totally different. Like, we know kids who are 7 and are just now starting to learn to read. If I would have told my public school friends that, they would be like, oh my gosh, you're supposed to start in kindergarten and all the things. Like, it looks different,
Yeah.
especially if your kid has special learning needs or, just doesn't fit in the box. So just make it meaningful for you. You can use flexible pacing and figure out how you're going to attack the things they need to know.
And if you're a working mom and you're suddenly a homeschooling mom as well, you're going to have a flexible pacing and schedule, and that's okay.
We know people who homeschool during the summer or
The weekends, the evaluation I just did the other day, they do most of their school on the weekends.
Right. So it's whatever works for you. Flexible pacing could mean anything. It could mean spreading out the curriculum, spreading out your school year, spreading out your day. Like you set it up. You have so many hours in a day, you decide how it's going to work for you all.
All right, so build confidence with those strategies. Teach to your child's strengths first, redefine progress, and use flexible pacing.
Mhm.
And if you are sitting there biting your nails and you have no idea how to add these into your
Mhm.
homeschool program or days, that
Mhm.
is why we are here. Right, Jenny? We have an online
Yes.
community just waiting for you. We are set up to meet with all the homeschool moms in our community for office hours, and we have 6 appointments left in January. You need to get in on these strategy sessions. It's Jenny and I meeting with you. You bring any questions that you have, any struggles, any modeling of teaching certain subjects. We've done that before. Whatever you need, where we can help get your questions and struggles answered and solved, that is when we do that, right? During these office hour times.
Yeah, and we have moms just check in with us and just say, "Oh my gosh, listen to what just happened. Now what do I do? What do I do next?"
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great.
But it doesn't end there because we have a 24/7 online forum where you can message us directly. You can send videos. That's a very successful way for moms to get help with, for example, reading. They'll send us a video of their kiddo reading and they get stuck in a spot, and we're able to reply to them there in the direct message. Try this, try that. So that is our online community, and we would love to have you around the well with us. We're also offering a workshop each month just for the homeschool moms in our community. February 4th is our next workshop, and it's about modifying curriculum. We are specialists in that. I'm going to just go ahead and toot our own horn that Jenny and I both, with our own kids and with so many students that we've worked with in public, private schools, and through talking with moms, we are not afraid to modify us some curriculum for you. So don't miss out on that workshop. You got to make it on February 4th. It's in our online community. It's called The Well. We're meeting around the well because we also pray in Jesus' name for you. And you'll get that at the office hours appointments as well. And so, how do you get in? Okay, this is what you do. You go to the homeschoolwell.com, you click join now. There's all kinds of details about the community, registration, and then you just get instant access to all of those things, plus all of the pre recorded workshops that we have for you to build teaching skills, and some even in there for your kiddo to do some learning while you take a little break. You can let us teach them with our pre recorded videos.
Yes. And get excited because you can use the coupon code podcast50 for 50% off your first month's membership. So you can get in for super cheap and look around and come sign up for some office hours and all the things. We also take the Step Up for Students scholarship in Florida, and we are in the provider section, and you can just direct pay us that way too.
So remember, the coupon code for 50% off the first month is podcast 50. Go to the homeschoolwell.com, click join, use that coupon code, and we will see you soon. We'll also be back next week for a whole new episode on how to do this gentle reset in January. In the meantime, have a great week and know that we are cheering you on, homeschool mom.
We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye bye.